the addition of 2 more cats.
There you go. Well, it's kind of neat that, it's like, it's spring, the ducks are here.
Yeah.
Me, my brother-in-law will try to shoot it. Who's out the lake, the last guy keeps the sweets. He told me that he would be over there at 6:35. That was a very precise time. Yes, that is a specific time according to when the sun comes up, or whatever it is. So, they says they don't like the sun. Okay. Dog and I will now go out in the water.
Have you seen those cranes up on
Yes,
the avenue?
they were in our front yard, and then they walked right around to the backyard. Just huge birds.
Yeah.
Yes, they were right in our front yard the other day.
I saw them driving down here tonight. I was like, whoa, those things
Yes.
are big.
Yes.
Coming from,
I don't know where they came from, but all of a sudden, I don't know what day it was last week. They said, quick, look out the window. And I'm thinking somebody's delivering us a.
like, no, this over there, wrong address.
It was 2 large birds.
That's funny. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call an order to the meeting for the Charter Township of Comstock Parks and Recreation meeting. Note that our chair, Teresa, is out, and I will be chairing the meeting. And the first part of order would be the approval of the agenda. And if anyone has any comments or would like to make changes.
Will we approve the agenda as submitted?
So we shall. And then public comments, if there's anyone would like to make a statement or share something with us.
Yes. Hi, I'm Emily. As school has started back up, I am now driving past Fred McLinden on the way to drop my daughter off at school in the morning. I see stuff, I see cars. Last Thursday at 6:30 in the morning, there were 4 cars parked right around the entrance, and like you could kind of see there was a van and the light was on because the doors were open. It was just very suspicious. So I'm just wondering some direction on when I see that stuff. Last year it was kind of like I would call the non-emergency line and let them know, and then I would call and leave a message or something with you guys just to like cover bases. So I didn't know if that's the same thing that we want to do, or if you think that there's a more productive way to do it. My husband and I over the summer went out and did see like very roughly like a lean-to like out in there in the back, but it was brown and it was fall and the leaves were falling at that time. So it was like, you could see it, but you couldn't. We tried to take a picture, but it was too blurry because of where it was. But I had talked with Dakota and was working on doing the What 3 app, What 3 words. It's like it pings you within. And so like I was trying to like save those things so that I could give them to Dakota, and that way he could like see a better view. But as I went past and as it got fall, it was like you couldn't really see it anymore, and it wouldn't have done anything for him to go out. He has the coordinates, so he knows like where to do it or where to look sometimes, I suppose. But I know that the city owns it, but then there's the watershed, but then there's us, and we only like maintain it. So I just, whatever would be the best way that might be the most productive. I just always worry like, if it works out for a couple people, then it's gonna work out for even more people and more and more. So just to keep it ours, you know? So I guess think about it. I can email Katie and then just whatever directives you guys come up with, that's what I'll do, just so that we can do it together.
We appreciate that you're paying attention to it. I can address a couple times within the past, this summer, early spring, and also even just a couple weeks ago, there have been sheriff cars in that
Okay.
space. So I do know that they are paying more attention to it.
And as you know, that is obviously our jurisdiction, but it's not in some ways as
Yeah,
well. I think communication is important, and reporting it to Katie, then she can at least make a note of it.
Yeah.
And then you're also reporting that directly to the sheriff's office.
Yeah, to the non-emergency line.
Yep.
So if they can get someone to go by, they can, and if they can't, it was at least reported,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah.
you keeping us posted on
for
that, yeah.
sure. I tried to pretend like I was gonna do it over summer, but the days are so short, or the nights are so short, and it was like, when school starts up, I'll do it again. But, thank you.
All right. Yeah, I apologize. I don't know if I made note of our attendance, right? Everyone is here except for, yeah, okay. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. This includes the meeting minutes, mercantile bill, GL distribution report. And as you can see there, as presented.
Move we approve the consent agenda as read by the chair.
I just have a couple of questions real quickly on this, the invoice distribution. When it's CD lawn maintenance and it says mowing cemeteries, park and township, is that amount 4610 our portion or?
It's actually not ours at all. Mowing doesn't come out of our budget, so I let Brett know
Okay.
to
So that's
remove it
there,
entirely.
that-
Yep.
That's even on there?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's already been fixed.
Okay.
It was fixed with a manual journal entry, so it won't show up in this report.
okay. And then Dale Hubbard for septic cleaning, is that at Robert Morris Park?
Yes, I did do, I got the septic cleaned the other day, and it should be done every 4 to 5 years, and I think it was closer to 8 that had been done.
Okay.
So I reached out to Clean Earth, and that's who.
Okay.
That's
Was
okay.
there any, did they have any concerns about the septic tank? I mean, could that possibly be leaking? Could that be any cause of our problem or not?
I asked him about it. He said he did not believe so, because if it was coming from our septic tank, there'd be signs in the yard.
Okay.
And
okay.
there's been nothing like that.
Okay.
So it was certainly due for service, but it wasn't causing any issues, I'd say.
Anything else, Judy? I had one mention in the meeting notes that I abstained from the approval of I think it was the mercantile bill, not the switching around of the agenda. So very minor, but just FYI. So I have a motion for approval on the agenda as presented with these minor considerations or changes. Anyone in disagreement? Approved, and we can go on. Presentations. Nothing to have available, unfortunately. And then on to now our business items. First off, Robert Morris Park sourcing test.
So included in the packet on page 14 is just kind of a summary of where we're at with that. So I think more information will come once I can see what the grant looks like, but right now it doesn't seem like source testing is gonna help us at all. We're thinking it's goose as causing the high E. coli level, but they don't have a reliable test to test for goose. So unless this grant has something special in it, I don't think this is something that I would recommend pursuing. If you have any questions on the little paragraphs I have here, I'm happy to answer it. Otherwise, that's kind of where we're at.
Does anyone have any comments? Okay. We can move on then now to the discussion on the Neal development.
So progress update, where to begin? So I tried to put this in the best order that I could, but we're still kind of gonna flip back and forth between like item number 2, 3, and kind of 4, but we can hit those individually still. So the playground did not get built when it was supposed to. Reached out to the Sinclair Recreation, who assists us in building, and with the rainfall that we had, it wasn't going to work, so we canceled that. The pickleball courts are finished. Everything else is finished. As far as I know, we're just waiting on a final walkthrough with our engineer and the construction company. I called our engineer again today and did not hear back. So I think that meeting is still supposed to happen this week. I just don't have that scheduled just yet. So as soon as that happens, the park can open an hour later. I'll just post it on Facebook, let everybody know the best I can. As far as, or I was telling, before the meeting started, the furniture did come, so that's in our garage right now. We can get that put up. We're gonna do most of it this week. And I met some electricians up at Neil earlier. I've been running into a few issues with trying to look at cameras, trying to look at a timer lock that we were supposed to put on the vault restroom that got missed at some point in all of this. So a lot of things that we were kind of trying to do need electricity. And talking to Esper today, it kind of sounds like maybe we don't actually get electricity, and it is, we're gonna have somebody who has to go to the park every day to lock or unlock the restrooms and then potentially having to lock them. It sounds like there is one option to where we could get a lock on the bathroom that you'd have to unlock it every morning, but then you could set the timer that night and then it could close at night. And then the plan was still for Joe to empty the trash, do anything kind of like that until it appears that more staff is needed there. I've been up there quite a few times. Joe is up there. I think even our ordinance officer is up there, and it seems like there's always somebody there who's asking about the pickleball court. So I understand. We just can't quite do it yet. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Any questions for an update? As I said, there's things that we'll get to about it, but not quite for an update, I guess.
My thoughts were that once we make a decision on the naming and that some of these things are resolved, that there's going to be, as we talked about, an opening. But prior to that as well, will there be like like a web content of some of this, the changes, the things that are available or not available, facilities, that kind of thing?
So it took me a while to kind of connect with our website people. And then, of course, it's never just that easy. So it sounds like our website needs to be updated. So they were able to get something up there for me. So I'm trying to update that and get that posted. So that's been in the works for a few weeks, and hopefully by the end of the week, I should have something up there for people to look at. As far as signage goes, I have a lock cabinet on the bathrooms. So that's where for now we'll put any kind of rules, any kind of notification that we'd want there. I feel like I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, but with cameras, the ordinance officer decided not to use the trail cameras that they have, so they gave them to us. So for now, we're gonna put those trail cameras up, so as a way to have eyes on the park without having to spend any money until we decide what to do. No, they're not the best, but right now it's something until we decide. So those should also be set up by the end of the week as well.
Those operate 24/7, right? Yep. So even while people are there, they'll be being photographed or whatever? Or?
They're always on, and then when there's a motion, it takes like a picture.
Yeah.
So then, and I have an app that shows me all of that. I think you can look at it on your computer, but the app is.
Yeah, but obviously it'd be after hours is when our most.
Potentially, you'd be surprised when people are trying to pull stuff this last week. It's broad daylight, but yes. But it is night vision on that camera.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to post anything that lets people know that they're possibly being videotaped?
I can't remember what the ruling on that is, but we are putting up a sign that says that they are.
That the area is
Yep.
under surveillance or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so with that update, what do you need from us?
Just if you hear from people, when's it opening? We're just waiting on that final walkthrough, and by all means, it'll be open.
So that's a certification then for occupancy, similar to like a building when it's?
Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't want anybody using it before there was a final walkthrough, because what if, and I don't anticipate anything bad coming out of this walkthrough. It's just something that needs to happen before we can actually have the public on there.
Do you need any board participation for this walkthrough, or?
I can let you know when it is, and you'd be welcome to come if you'd like, but I didn't see it as a necessity.
And you don't have that as a time frame yet, though?
Last week we talked, and she was trying to schedule it for early this week, and I just haven't heard back since then about, I was hoping it would be today and I'd be able to come here and be like, it's open, we're ready. But unfortunately not. So I'm still hoping tomorrow or Wednesday. I can't imagine it's even gonna take a half hour, 20 minutes to walk through this thing, but just one of those things.
And then did you have an update on naming?
With Teresa not being here, I wasn't quite sure how we were gonna go about that. From the last meeting, it was decided for me to collect the names from everyone, and then I was going to send those names to her. I'm not
okay.
quite sure what was gonna happen after that. I did print off the email that I sent to her. I couldn't remember, though, if it was supposed to be like a blind who suggested what. So I have that email from her. How would you like to proceed with our naming? I don't know if,
Well, this is new territory for me, so I'm open to, I wasn't even good at naming the baby, so. I'm kidding.
yeah.
But I mean, from what I saw in the email, I mean, Neal Street Park or Neal Street something was the most, had the most votes, right?
Well, that's where I don't know how to,
She's taking us right into it.
I don't know how to go about this. Not to speak for you, did you want to add the other possibility, or am I just going off this?
Is it not on there already?
I don't think so, because it's Notley, Clarence, and
Oh.
Orchard.
Oh, sure. So there was one more name that I was researching, and it was a former Parks Board member named Marjorie Portinga, back from when we actually acquired the property. She was on the board, and her husband, J. Edgar Portinga, was the maintenance person for the parks. So I was trying to get in touch with the family, and that's been difficult, so.
Interesting.
So other than that other name, mostly, there's other things on here, but Neal Street, or a variation of, is the most common. I didn't know if that meant that was the name, or if that's a vote, or if that's still a suggestion. I don't know.
I thought that was what she said, see if there was agreement amongst, that
Yeah.
there was one name that stood out as having the most support.
In my opinion, we're coming up on when we want to have this opening, and it's hard to, I'm finding it difficult for the route I was going to try to find somebody to name it after. It's hard to get those details.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the easiest thing would be just to call it Neal Street Park.
I think
That's,
And everybody, that's already on a lot of our
Right.
literature. We wouldn't have to change things. We wouldn't have to introduce another.
yeah, and down the road, whenever, if you find you want to name it after someone, you can do it then, yeah. But in order to open it, I think we have to have a name, and that seems
Yes,
to be
that would be helpful.
that seems to be the most common answer, so.
And from the citizens that were here, that seemed.
Yes, one of the gals had commented. I'm not in objection for it at all, so
Shall I make that a motion, or do we want to,
include Teresa.
but I mean, that would be another month away before.
But yeah, no, that we shouldn't, we should move forward.
All right, I'll make a motion that we stick with the name, Neal Street Park.
Any objections? Sorry. So the new park will be named Neal Street.
And it's Neal, correct?
As far as I know. But yeah,
Far as
that's
I
a good, it's not KN?
I mean,
Canino.
there's variations of.
Yes.
And that, I mean, that was a person, so I guess that counts, right?
Yeah.
It was the township supervisor, I believe, Clarence Neal.
Okay, so we are now moving on to the Park of the Month, Jan Shaw River Villa.
Did you want to talk about the playground?
Oh, yes, sorry, that definitely we want to do that.
So,
That's a pretty big deal.
item number 3 is the playground. So we weren't able to do the community playground build in August. Talking to them about when can we do it, how are we gonna do it. If we try to do a community build, it's not gonna be until the spring. If we want to do it as a contractor, we could do it the fall of this year and get it done. Price-wise, it's going to be, I didn't include that, did I share that with you? I don't have that with me. I believe it was 16,000, I can't remember if it was like 185. If you give me a minute, I can look it up on my phone real quick and get that answer, but to go through it and then I'll look at that. It is a lot of money, $16,000. I looked at how much it cost us though to do the the Fleetwood playground build, and that was $28,897. So some of that money is food and drink was almost 600, the concrete was 1,700, the mulch was 9,600, and the community build supervisor fee was $17,000. So we would be saving almost $12,000 if we do it as a contractor build. The reason why the contractor build is only that 16,000 some is a little bit, the company is trying to help us because we bought this stuff, I think 2 years ago. It is also helpful for them. It gives them the ability to pay their contractors a little bit later into the season than normal. Usually he was saying that a contractor build like this would be more like $30,000. So I will pull up that specific number, but I'm requesting that we make a motion, or you make a motion to approve a contractor build for the set amount that it would be able to happen this fall.
That would include the concrete and all the other things would that include the mulch and everything?
The only thing that it does, I believe it doesn't include, is the mulch. So the mulch is another $11,000, but we don't have to pay for the concrete or anything else. So it would be this $11,000 plus the $16,000.
Where's the money coming from?
Right now, out of contracted services,
Okay.
there's money in that budget. Eventually, there'll probably need to be a budget adjustment, but it's not necessary at this time. But also, she mentioned that we have to pay for the mulch, but I'm pretty sure that was in the original bid anyway, or
Yeah.
contract from Next Gen.
Would
So we already knew we were going to have to pay that.
would having a contractor build in the early spring be a possibility so that this new equipment didn't have to sit through the whole winter? Or would it have to be built this fall?
I would want it to be built this fall, just so it can be
Yeah,
Okay.
built,
I
it
would
can be
agree.
done. And I don't know a date that he could do it, but potentially kids could play on it before the
yeah,
winter.
maybe depending on weather, we have another 6 months for the community.
And I think that's part of getting the deal.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, because they're less busy then, yeah.
So the exact amount for the contractor installation would be $16,875.
All right, so let's just say 17,000 and then whatever we have to spend on mulch.
Right, which is already, yeah,
Already.
but yes, that is a number that is kind of still out there.
Seems like it would make more sense to go with a contractor build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would, and it would, yes, please.
I will move to work with a contractor build and set that up for this fall and have it done in that manner.
Any objections at all?
Can you state the amount, just for the record?
17.
16,875.
Yes, that
Okay.
the total would be somewhere under $17,000.
The only stipulation I would like to see is that it's done, so it's still in a usable time frame. So fall might be wide open for what we consider as fall versus what a contractor might be. I would assume it's earlier, and that would be our preference. So we can open this up and have, people be able to enjoy it.
I think it's October, November timeframe, but
Is that late? Okay.
yeah. Well, it's September.
Yeah,
Oh, it's,
I know, right?
no, it's not.
So potentially it could be another month at
Yeah,
earliest, maybe.
okay. So, any objections? Okay, the motion is passed.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can move on.
So now it's the cameras.
Now, okay, so you do need, okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. There's
that's fine.
a lot going on with this park, and I didn't want to.
No, I agree.
So the thought was that we needed cameras up at the park. I don't have all the quotes to give you just yet. A lot of them, or one of them came in just early this afternoon, but to update you on kind of how things are shaking out. Like I had mentioned, I met with Esper Electric to look at adding electricity there for cameras and a couple other things. There's no lights. The bathroom would need electricity to do this timer lock thing. It doesn't seem like the best route to go at the moment if we're looking at just the camera piece and the door piece. I do have somebody who it seems like can open and potentially close the bathroom every night, so that's not as big of a concern as it was even a week ago. Getting electricity is going to have to be working with consumers to pull electricity from Neil, I think is how they could do it. But depending on the distance from where we're wanting things to happen, they're gonna have to drop other light poles and this is why I asked the electrician and not me doing this, so the words aren't
Yeah.
entirely expert. But it sounds like it's gonna be an awful lot to just add cameras that we're not even entirely sure are absolutely needed at this high, like price tag, that we might be able to get away with maybe the trail cameras for a little bit. Two companies that I reached out to for a quote can do solar, and that's a varying price. I just haven't had time to look at, apples to apples. Right now, it's just two different numbers. But I think at the next meeting, I would come back with if we want to do cameras, this is my recommendation, or if you want to see all the quotes and to look at them, and this is the one that I'm recommending, how we want to do that. For right now, I think I had mentioned we're putting up trail cameras. I don't think that's going to be the best solution for long term, but I think for right now, it's good, especially with not having to spend any money up front to do it. Does anyone have any questions about cameras or?
Did you actually get a quote from Esper?
I wasn't able to get a quote from him because first it sounded like we would have to talk to consumers about some of that. But if we want to do electricity, it's going to be drawing power. It looks like we would have to have a separate building of some sort to house the panel in, and then running the lines underground. So it's not just.
Yeah. Kind of like the water discussion that, until the main gets pulled in.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that'd be important us to know is maybe a capital improvement for courts later on if this thing turns out to be what we're thinking it is.
Sure.
So in this restroom, which when I went up there was locked, so I didn't see inside. So is there some source of light in there?
There's not.
Is there so if you go in there and you close the door behind you, it's gonna be pretty pitch
They usually
black?
have a sunlight.
It would be, because there's a window on
There
like
is a window,
the
okay.
playground side.
Okay, so there is a window.
So it's be natural light.
Okay, all right, that's why I wasn't sure if there was, I was gonna say, is it, just gonna be totally dark in there when you?
Sure.
Okay, but there is a window.
Bring your flashlight.
Otherwise, they could tell everybody to bring a flashlight with them.
Right.
Okay,
So that's all I have for cameras unless there's more.
Yeah, I would like it if we could at least get an idea what it will cost to get electrical out there, because I think long-term that it'll be our,
Sure. I mean, I can give you the numbers now, but,
but I mean ballpark.
so one of the companies, I don't know if you've seen the solar pole that's been at Meyer before, it's on a trailer. So that to buy it is $40,000. To rent it is $1,600 a month with a $7,000 installation type fee. What was it? EPS, they're requiring electricity and a building to be able to do some of this stuff, and that's anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. Reolink is a solar camera, and that's roughly $200 a camera, and then a $15 a month fee. And then this other company that I met with, another solar option there, it's a higher quality, I think, than maybe Reolink, but it would be a $10,000, a little less upfront cost, and then $1,500 in annual fees. But Verkada's, this other company, is more similar to EPS with the quality, but I think better than EPS. I don't know if it's just the cameras that we have, but with EPS, you can't zoom in on things, where with this other company, you can zoom in on certain things, and there's just a lot of, I think, benefits with this other company, but it's $10,000 as opposed to $200 a camera. So I think some of it is how much are we going to need? One thing that I didn't mention, with anything that we go with, we're probably going to have to put in some sort of pole because there's nothing to really mount these things on. The vault restroom is entirely concrete, so it took Joe a lot of effort to nail that's where we're going to put one of the trail cameras. Talking to Esper, they were saying that some work that they've done at Western, they have these galvanized poles that they put in, so it's 5 feet into the ground and then 15 feet above with the camera on top of there. So far that's kind of been the best option that I've heard. So kind of a wide range, and it also how much are you looking to have information wise?
so did the bus garage, does not have any electricity in there, or?
I think that's something that consumers would have to answer. Esper couldn't really make that determination. And then that was just earlier this afternoon, so I haven't been able to reach out to consumers to try to look into that. I think Mark I think it's something to find out for future, but I don't know if that's going to be something realistic in the next year or two.
More to explore. Anybody have any thoughts regarding? Do you have any experience in running circuits to that scale?
Yeah. I just did it for
Oh, here we go.
2 parks. It's not horribly expensive if there's electric close. However, consumers is not quick about it. It took over a year.
Okay.
Just because of their scheduling and everything else, so. But it wasn't, we were just, and there was an existing pole at the park we just did in the city, and it was just dropping the electric and putting it to the building, and it took over a year.
I think that's what we might find, that there's either a pole out on the further reaches of the property, or, because I thought Scott had even talked about something like that at one point or another.
It looks like there's something.
I think there is, but they were saying that we'd have to pull, they think that we had to pull from it when it, so.
It's not just the circuit, it's also the panel and the building to contain it and whatnot. No, understood.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's good information that we need to digest, and finding out from consumers, or even, with this discussion, with the poles that are actually on our property, that might be something that we can start to connect those dots, but I don't think it's a here and now kind of thing.
Sure.
Would you agree? Yeah, okay. Okay, now.
Yes.
Can we move on to
Yes.
Park of the Month, Jan Shaw? I'm sorry if I feel like I'm pushing everybody forward.
So Park of the Month, I meant to walk the park before today, and it's just one of those things that didn't happen. So right now, I think some of the things that we've talked about is actually planting flowers, making it that wildflower walk. It's not necessarily maintained grooming-wise, and I think it's just something that we just kind of need to make, and maybe we have, but like making a hard decision on what we want it to look like, what it should look like, and really deciding, putting a deadline on it. Is this something that we want to try to do by the end of next year? Whether we can get certain people involved in it or not, but this is something that we want to try to accomplish. So, yeah.
Dave and I were out there yesterday at Jan Shaw.
Oh, good.
It just happened to be that another couple similar age to us were walking around, and we started chatting, and they had questions about, where does this go? How long does it go? And I said, I said, I know if you go back this trail, you end up by the river, but, there really is nothing that tells you like where to find the community garden or anything.
No, right.
So some sort of signage, if we really want to encourage people to use it.
Sure.
Would be helpful, but, it looked nice, and,
Good.
there's some areas where there's a path that's completely obstructed now by fallen branches and stuff, and there's another spot where, you have to kind of walk over a fallen tree to continue on the path, but it's, it looks nice,
Good.
I really consider this area kind of a diamond in the rough in many ways. I think it could be a good learning opportunity. We've talked about, teaming up with like the Nature Center at some point, and developing maybe some potential signage. I don't know if that's necessarily that has to be, but the directions of the trails are really kind of obscure. I think it's over the years has gone from, one direction, and it just keeps getting split up. But if we can establish a trail map, that would be really positive. You've got the river trail that it connects to, which I think is also another benefit. And I found myself working both on that area of the trail and then back onto the Jan Shaw space. So, but it's really unclear. And, even the river frontage would be really nice to have like a, small platform, but just for observation and looking. And I think, again, it's a educational and learning opportunity for, local schools, churches, organizations, whatever. I think it would be something that we really should look forward to putting some money and some time into how it can be developed better.
What is the trail condition? Is it just a natural trail that's been walked through? Do we mow a trail or?
It's kind of,
Isn't it just grass?
yeah, I mean, it's grass, it's a little muddy and, so
Yeah, it's
forth,
not
but I mean,
even which-
there are certainly defined trails.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just asking because I thought we could, if it's not getting rid of too much green space, we could put that crushed stone that we were talking about to make it accessible all through there, and then add your trail markings. Flower and plant identification would be cool. I thought big and thought we could have an amphitheater back there for a program, and have students and a
Yeah.
program about whatever, you name it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting something at the river for people to, not necessarily
Observation
boardwalk,
or,
but
just
something,
benches or something,
Benches.
yeah.
Maybe what
Yeah.
kind of animals are in the water,
And
maybe.
it feels really remote, like you're almost like trespassing in a sense, because it's really undefined space.
And you almost feel like you could get lost.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
there
you
is,
don't, there's
yeah.
trails this way and that way, and you don't know if they meet or if they, if you
And
end up in
the-
Galesburg.
The west sides of the trails connect to some of the neighborhoods too, so that's a little undefined. So. So what would we need to do? I know that there's a discussion later about connecting with the nature center and some of the things that we've talked about. I don't know if that's necessarily the avenue directly, but I mean, we talked about trails being a potential, especially accessible trails. So maybe a major trail that connects to the River Valley Trail that's right there in that aspect. I'm just not sure how we go about, getting those combined into, improving the property.
It's maybe not in the best place on the agenda, but the budget for 2026 is coming up, and part of that would kind of talk about we had a capital improvement meeting, I think just last week. So I don't know if, depending on what all the things that we want to do, if it is going to need to be a CIP project, or is it's not actually going to be that much to do some of these things and we can just work it into our budget. But I guess just curious, how do we go about deciding, like, yes, this is the route that we want to go at, let's start working on it? Just a little direction that way, I guess, to kind of try to figure it out.
Well, we talked about, and I think we made some connections for the River Street was one. I know that and I don't think that ever came through, and it wasn't anything other than we all are busy and whatnot.
Sure.
But I don't know if they could help us with some, or anyone could help us with some, natural floral options, I know that some of these trail works I've seen, like some of the natural beehives, I don't know if those are very successful. Even Kellogg Biostation and the Kellogg Bird Sanctuary both have this types of things where it's educational, they bring kids in or whatnot. So I don't know, it just seems like to make that connection might be a really good thing. I don't know yet how we do that, but it seems like it would be a real good.
I mean, I can certainly reach out to some of these people again. I guess I'm just curious and still learning a little bit.
Yeah.
The parks director to the board, like how do I go about doing some of these things without overstepping what your vision is, trying to go with what I was thinking we were supposed to do, just kind of.
Yeah, I think it's a shared vision
those
for
great
sure.
lines.
And I think part of the discussion is identifying that and then how to go forward. I think connecting with some of these resources that we talked about, even the folks that were going to be doing the work in the river, there might be, and I apologize, I don't remember which group that was, but there might be a connection there that, they help with developing trails. I don't know. But I'd like us to take a look at it. I don't know how to put a budgetary number together to see what that looks like. But I think it's something that I know that for the past several years, we've talked about it. Not just buying flowers and throwing them in there, but really come up with a plan on how it's developed and used.
So,
Sorry, going back to the budget a little bit. So, as you know, we want to put the fence up at Neal and some of the tree plantings, so that will be in the budget for next year. And then also the river walk, I'm calling it the river walk, but the
Frontage.
yeah,
Ramp?
what am I trying to say? The Merrill Park, the restoration, sorry, for the riverfront. I think the plan is to try to get a grant next year to do the work in '27. So that sort of leaves a project open for next year. I don't know how quickly we could do anything with Jan Shaw, that it may be for another year, but anyway, I digress. So I think it's a good idea to make those connections and maybe just, for now, get some ideas, like, of other places that have something like this. Like, is this space big enough for X? What could we do here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just gathering ideas of what could possibly go there. Just anything,
Sure, sure.
no limits. I mean, yeah.
Would the first step maybe be to go in there and see about cleaning up the trails that are there? And then, maybe signage is the next important thing? And then, kind of have a
Yeah.
timeline of.
Yeah, signage, I think, is a pretty simple one. Yeah, and then from
that would
there,
be helpful for
yeah.
anybody that's not.
but I don't think any one of us would be able to suggest that we should put this type of planting in this open space, or, things that are appropriate. That's where I would like to reach out to the experts and help us develop that space, so it's, for the indigenous wildlife, et cetera, not we're introducing something that's gonna be,
But in order to.
A problem.
Get to the point where you do plantings, you
Yeah.
probably want to clean up the trails a little
yeah,
bit.
definitely, that should be, we should put some time and energy
Maybe
into it.
that'd be a priority, and then,
Yeah.
some signage, and then
Yeah.
move on from there, and
Yeah, I like
have
that.
someplace to start with.
Do we
I
have-
don't know how much time Joe has to devote to something like that, or if we need to look for other sources of
You
volunteers.
mentioned a tree down, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely.
Yeah,
There's two paths that kind of go back to the.
To river, yeah.
One is completely blocked. You
I think
can't
that's
go
actually
through.
been there that way for a while,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then the other one, we had to step over a fairly sizable tree to
Yeah.
continue on that path.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds like that's something out of his scope, maybe, that we need actually some of the
yeah,
tree
I don't
removal.
know. Or some of us go back and take a look and say, this needs to go, and this needs to.
I think he would certainly look at it. I'd say a harder issue right now is that like all of the seasonals are done. So it's just not a lot of
Extra hands.
extra hands.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I haven't been back there lately, so I don't know what is one person gonna be able to do in even a couple of weeks?
Right, yeah. And
So,
would it have to involve like CD lawn maintenance?
Yeah,
or
some of the
somebody,
connection.
Company that would come in and cut things back
Yeah,
and remove dead.
I would imagine that would probably be more the likely scenario.
And what the expense would be for something like that.
yeah,
But then again, how much is it really used?
yeah, exactly. Or why is it not being used?
Yeah,
Because
or would it
maybe,
be
yeah,
used for if it was?
yeah.
Do we have a map, an existing map, or is it just kind of they go where they go?
I don't believe so.
No,
Okay.
it's haphazard, yeah.
Okay. Well, that might be, as part of the clearing the trails,
Yeah,
maybe
identifying what
making
are
an
the
official
trails.
trail
Yeah.
that we should stay on, and I mean, you can obviously
Yeah.
explore, but if you want to find your way back.
Who did the McLendon? That was Kalamazoo Parks, right?
No, I think
Yeah,
it was
but
the water,
Yeah, it's probably
I can't think of that.
services.
Oh, not,
Public services.
not the Parks Department? Oh, okay. I just figured you might have someone there that could typographically generate a map that we could.
We did that at a reserve that we have this last fall, kind of cutting trails for Lloyd Works' cross-country team. It wasn't anything, it's not accessible, but we've done that. It wasn't the greatest kind of environmentally sound practice, but I'm just trying to think, I was trying to look in the master plan to see if there was
Because
anything.
right now, how do people even know that the community garden, where to find that? If they, it's very obscure.
I don't necessarily promote where the community garden is because the people who are gardeners know where it
Know
is.
what it is. Oh,
Yeah.
where it is, okay.
I can understand that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody new said, oh, I'd like to, it'd be hard to
Right.
even explain to them.
Usually, that's an in-person kind of,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So maybe we can set a summary up on what we see for this space? I mean, from each of the board members of priorities for this space? And then from that, you can take that and create an objective list of how we can go about that and see what dollars need to be put towards it?
That sounds fine. I don't mean, that sounds good.
Okay.
You got your me at 6:45, yep.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, we can have all these ideas, but eventually somebody's going to have to design
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think I've always envisioned that of being much more accessible and developed. I remember the first time going out there, I had to find out from, I think, Linda, where do I go? You know, so, anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say that we will, by next meeting, you would prompt us to make sure that we have our list together for the Jan Shaw.
Like your vision of.
Yeah,
the
from each
space.
of us,
Yeah.
just maybe just a simple outline, but
Sure.
at least it puts it on paper and that you have something to work from.
Sure.
Okay, that now takes us to, any more comments with regards, okay. So projects, if you want to take us through where we're at and where we've come from.
Sure. So the first, my number's hidden, I think page 20, 21, and 22 is kind of the last project list that you had seen in August. So I included that. Then page 23, 24, and 25, and 26, I just thought it'd be helpful to see the goals and objectives from our master plan. And then page 27 was kind of more my snapshot of the project list, but however you need to look at what projects we have remaining to try to move forward or stop any projects. I don't know if this is the way that we need to do it or if I'm a little confused on certain things, but kind of what I have that to finish out the year to things that are kind of lingering. I would start with the ADA recommendations if we want to continue to, so we have the grill pads that'll be set at Robert Morris and the sway bench. But do you want me to pursue adding grill pads to the Merrill Park pavilions? And then the other recommendation from the Kalamazoo Disability Network was a paved parking space at Fleetwood and companion bench seating at the rest of the parks.
I apologize, companion bench seating is
So that's where you have like the bench and then there's still
open space.
a concrete space next to that bench so a wheelchair can, or I think it's even a stroller, can pull up next to the bench so they're not in the grass or they have a space themselves.
And did we put costs together for these?
I do not. I kind of took a stop and before, I didn't know, I thought maybe I stopped doing all these things, kind of make sure that this is something to pursue and then I would get costs for it. If it's something where, yes, that sounds okay, but let's get a cost before we vote yes on it, that is fine. But I just didn't want to go too far before it's like, wait, what are you doing?
So why don't we as a board, let's break that down to the components that she's asking us for feedback on. I mean, as we already know that we're doing the swing or the sway, you called it a sway?
I do mix them. It's
No, that's
a
okay.
swing sway bench.
Yeah, no. So we already know that we're doing that in the path, but first item would be what, the grill pads then?
Grill pads at Merrill. So right now, and this was what happened at Robert Morris, the pavilion concrete pad ends, then it's like short, small grassy area to the grill pad. The idea would be to connect the concrete pad so somebody can wheel directly to the grill pad.
And that one, I believe we did have a quote for.
We do at Robert Morris, so I would assume it'd be somewhat similar.
Similar.
But I think the grills are the same. I don't know if the distance off the pavilion is the same as Robert Morris.
Okay. And are you guys comfortable with breaking these down individually and then voting on them, or how would you guys like to pursue it? Because to my understanding, ADA components were the bigger thing that we wanted to focus on. This is our opportunity to move those items forward.
Right, my only question on the Merrill Park, anything at Merrill Park, is should we wait and throw it into the grant? Or do you think that's only gonna be the frontage that we're worried about? We can do the grill pads now. That's my only question. Because I know we asked him specifically about those benches that are along the river, about accessing them with a wheelchair or a stroller.
Okay.
So that will probably be part of it. I doubt the grill pad will be though, so that may be something we can do now.
But it's also a park upgrade,
Yeah.
right? And it's a component within that category.
Right.
I would say wait.
But I think we need to get a dollar amount for it. right?
Right, and that's
Yeah.
what we're waiting on the engineers
Okay.
to get
Yeah.
through with their
So
talks.
I'd
with
say let's
people.
try to include it, and obviously the the option with the grant makes most sense, and then we'll have to see where we're at.
Sure,
But on these other items,
yes.
Right,
those are some of the gray areas that you need clarification on.
Yes,
So it's my opinion that, again, as I've heard, that is one of our main objective is to move forward on additional accessible components within our parks. So I would approve to spend the time and energy that we look at what those costs are going to be for the other parks, as you're calling it. So that is how many more parks? Everything.
probably, I would say just about every one.
Everyone.
I don't know. It does get a little
Yeah,
more.
so like Jan Shaw, I don't agree that needs to have that, you know. So there's going to be some of our, like Fleetwood.
I would say our existing parks as they stand now,
Yeah.
looking at those and seeing if we need to add a companion space for them.
Okay.
But anything new that's happening, I would just want to work it in from the beginning.
Because the disability folks were only at Robert Morris, correct?
They went to Robert Morris and they went to Merrill,
Oh, okay.
but in like the talks with, because even at Robert Morris and at Merrill, we could do companion bench seating there. So that was a blanket, like you could do this at all
Yeah.
the parks. I don't know if they didn't go to Fleetwood or if just in discussion, knowing that the parking lot there is just grass, if that was an easy one for them to say, adding a handicap
Yeah.
parking.
Okay.
just a question about, since you mentioned the parking lot, when you say paved parking at Fleetwood, do you mean along the split rail fence? Is that where the parking would be at?
That's where the parking is, and they were saying that you either add it on, I don't know, directions out there, if it's like the west side or the east side of it.
Right.
So you're not really adding, you're taking away, I guess, a grassy spot, putting a concrete pad in so somebody could easily use that space instead.
Right, but as it stands, or you would move the split rail further away from the road?
I don't think we have to move the
Okay.
guardrail. I think it's just adding but that would be something that I would find out in this, I guess.
Right, and you would definitely need permission from the road commission because it's touching the road.
Good to
They
know.
have to approve all driveways, and I'm assuming
Okay.
that's what they would consider that. That's what I was asking that. So you've got, sorry, I'm gonna keep talking. Companion bench seating so Fleetwood is the other park?
There's
And
benches
then-
at Fleetwood, but then there's also benches at Cooper and at Pier and, see, there's not any at Green Meadow.
About celery, is there a bench there?
Yes,
Okay,
so there'd be celery.
and was it built into the Neal where we're putting the,
I don't think it was. I
Okay.
haven't been able to get a measurement there. I did buy a
Gotcha.
6-foot bench, hoping that maybe we can, a smaller version of a bench, hoping that there's space there, but I'm not sure.
okay, so follow-up question. Where we add these companion bench seating, do we also have to add a path to that? Or do they roll through the grass? Like, that's my question.
Probably to be like 100% compliant, I'm guessing you're gonna need a path to go
Okay.
to the spot. But for right now, would it be, I don't mean to say good enough, but would it be
Right,
Yeah.
at least an addition to just have the companion seat there? So if you could get there, you could use it.
okay, gotcha.
So I guess this is just where, if it sounds like it's a good idea, if it's something that you're at least interested in, I will find the quotes and get all these things
Yeah.
answered. But if it was a hard no across the board, like, no, this isn't something that we
Yeah.
want to pursue, then that's just where I would stop.
Yeah. Does it make sense to include, is the grant open to additional parks, or is it just for that waterfront?
I think just for the restoration, well, there's all kinds of grants.
Yeah, yeah.
But the kinds of grants that we would get for the riverfront are specific to waterways, probably. There's other parks grants we could go for.
Yeah.
But a waterways grant would only be for
Yeah.
this
okay.
type of park.
And
Like I
Waterway
said, we
might
also
work
have
for Jan Shaw.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth exploring at least the cost, especially if we're gonna do them all. It may be cost effective to do them all at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's worth the cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So for our first one here, I will look into what pricing is for parking and companion bench seating. The next one would be, I guess, more of like a vision. So with Cooper, I do have a meeting with the Nature Center on Wednesday to look at like educational signage and just like property management, I guess. Outside of that is, I think on the project list, it was talking about adding the swing set, which I don't think is actually a good option anymore. So the question is, do we want to add any sort of playground type structure there, or is it, let's just remove that entirely?
No, I understand it to be that was something that we wanted to, we couldn't use what we had, but then what would be the next option? I mean, we don't get much feedback, but that was very clear feedback that we wanted to include something smaller that,
Yes, it does sound like the community wants something there.
yes. Do you feel that there's not space for it, or?
I think it's just then looking at what do we want to put there. Of course, they didn't put the prices in it, but I got a catalog for like the musical nature instruments, so I
Well,
thought
that would be really unique if it's something that carries over with maybe some of the interpretive information or whatever we
Sure.
might be providing.
So looking at
I know
stuff like.
play space means a lot to everybody.
Right.
It's kind of wide open, right?
Sure.
So,
I think the musical stuff is fairly expensive, and that's why they're not telling me how much it is.
no,
But, so like where a swing set, it was kind of looking like, oh, I already have one, we just have to.
Yeah,
pay,
yeah,
like-
no, I understand.
So now it's like, it could jump up
Yeah.
a little bit. So just kind of, so my thought was maybe adding like the musical instrument kind of piece.
yeah.
Does anyone else have any ideas for me to explore if this is something that we do want to
Well,
do?
it's also a neighborhood park, so my other concern would be, how loud is that music? You know what I mean? Like, you're not offering,
It's only gonna,
I'm assuming it's like bells or,
Yeah.
something simple, but
right, but yes, it
for
would be
people across
very,
the street might just,
might be a little irritating if
That
someone's
resonates,
having fun
yeah.
at midnight.
yeah, you can't,
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
The fishing thing is still very confusing to me. Some experts are telling me that it's not a place to fish, and then I have residents who are telling me all the things that they have fished out of there, so.
You see people fishing.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know what they're getting.
Are you using a magnet or a hook,
So, at one
right?
point, you said there was an available swing set,
Yes,
but you didn't feel there was enough room. Is that correct?
correct.
Okay, so is there any more room like in Pier Park? Like there's a flat area in Pier Park next to where the Veterans Memorial is? And would
I-
that be an option?
I think there is space there. I didn't bring it up because there's no parking there, where at least with Cooper, there's a couple parking. So I don't know, but maybe it's not too much of a walk. I don't know what the,
Right, the parking is
Yeah, I
between
feel
the
like
two.
those are separate. I think the idea was that if people, apologize, if people are using the gazebo for photos and what kind of, that kind of stuff, or maybe fishing and that, their kids have an activity as well. That's how I understood it.
right.
No, I just.
And I think, yeah.
If there wasn't room
Yeah.
at Cooper,
I would think a couple small activities or, it's not swings, but there's got to be something, a climbing, something, I don't know the,
I mean, there is gonna be a big playground right up the road.
that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's where I'm at. I'm anxious to see how many people use the playground once it's built now and when, October, November, this year,
Hopefully, right?
and maybe next year. And maybe it won't be necessary. I do like the idea of something other than a playground, like maybe not the musical instruments, but a learning something or other. I think that's a good idea. I just worry about the road.
Yeah, we're technically, we have another opening for comments, but we'll take your comment now if you had.
Okay, thank you very much. There is actually a space where a swing set would work really nicely, and that is on the north side of the parking lot. So it
Oh.
would be like on the other side
Yep.
of the park, around the corner there. There's room for probably another picnic table or two there, and people do fish. There's one picnic table on the south side of the parking lot where people fish quite often.
Mhm.
Trash can there. And it's very flat and it's dry, so
Yeah.
it's squishy there. So that might be an option, to put it down at that end.
Okay.
Pavilion down there, there's so much space.
And do we have your name and,
I'm Kim Patry, I live
Do-
on North
I don't know if I'm not thinking of the right north, but I thought the area you're talking about, I thought that is where it gets very like flooded. So you're talking more
On the other side of the pond.
Like next to the park?
like where the bus,
Parking lot.
On Warden?
Lot proper, yes.
On Warden,
okay, okay.
where the guard, isn't there a guardrail where those spots are?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that?
okay.
Yeah.
I'll look over there again.
So what is the plan for finishing the gazebos with the ADA?
Oh, I know it. So this, because it's September, the next couple of months, in-house, we will put ramps in.
Okay, so,
I would like us to not go a couple months because of weather. Yeah,
Or I say a couple of months,
Yeah.
just, I'm not the one doing it, so trying to
yeah. No, I
figure out whatever
understand.
other people have going on.
Yeah. Okay, so we've made a decision then?
To
They-
pursue
Yep,
some sort of play structure, so I'll move forward with trying to figure out what that looks
Okay.
like. I'm sorry if this is gonna take way too long. The Green Meadow, should I continue trying to figure out grooming, the path there, signage? And then the gate is kind of separate from that, to remind you of that. So right now, we can't close the gate for one reason or another. So last winter, we did not close for the winter and things seemed to go fine. But if we do feel like we need to close the gate to close the park, we will need a new gate.
so the first would be the grooming of the trails to keep the trail going. It's a pretty simple trail, but just letting people know that I'm not against that. I don't know what it takes for us to groom a trail and keep it open. I know that Mulders had helped us out because they were on site and, knocked down a trail for us. I'm sure that's probably overgrown by now.
Sure.
Unless it's been maintained. So I think we need to have you take a look at that space. And then with regards to the gate, I don't know what a gate runs, if that's something that we need to get replaced or if there's a reason why it's not working.
I think maybe a car ran into it or something, and now it's like if you try to close it, no, I'm sorry, it was when it got paved. Now that the parking lot was paved, the gate is too low, so you can't push it across the pavement.
Oh. I guess I wasn't aware of that. I don't know if anyone else was. Well, do we leave it open again for another season? I don't know. I don't have an answer.
It would just be for the winter, and then we could revisit it in the spring, maybe?
Typically, it's just closed in the winter, but we do have at least one individual who will go have lunch out there, and I think they go even if it's
Yeah.
somewhat cold, but it's a
Yeah.
place to go. And there wasn't anything that really made us think that we needed to close it last year, but it's just year to
Yeah.
year on what. So right now, though, if we wanted to close the gate, we couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something that we should make it so it's functional. Obviously, it was there for a reason initially. I don't think it needs to be done right away in your fall planning.
So it's still there, just open, or was it removed?
Correct.
It
It's
has
there
been
open.
removed? Okay. Just curious.
Anyone have any
I
other?
don't see why we need to replace it now if it wasn't a problem.
No, but I think we have to address it.
It definitely should be.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we kind of already talked about Jan Shaw. McLinden, I don't really know where, I looked over the email between me and Scott, or me, you and Scott. So it just seems like, unless I'm not really fully grasping this, we just really all need to decide on what we want to do and see who's willing to accept those terms.
Yeah,
Okay,
from what I understand.
right.
And they're still planning on paving that next year.
Sure. So I think it just is still coming down to if we want to put a gate there to help with some of the overnight possible stays.
Yep.
Is maybe the issue that we're looking at, but trying to figure out if that's what we want to look at. Or pay, or who's gonna,
Well, it's my opinion that we're improving that issue, that's being addressed, and it's really falls more on the sheriff, because we're not able, or unless it's during our business hours, that we can send someone over there, right?
well, during business hours, they'd be allowed to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we really can't, we don't have any control over that. I think it's that, when when a a citizen has a concern or complaint, that we have a way of tracking that, being able to report it and then make sure that goes in front of the right authorities.
Okay.
That would be my thought. Right? Okay.
Yeah, and if we do, and you pointed this out with Neil, but if we add a gate there, someone's gonna have to unlock it and lock it, along with the bathrooms and everything else. Which is fine, but eventually we're gonna have to get somebody else
Right, it's
to help
just,
Joe.
it's just hard to find people who are willing to do something like that potentially twice a day, every day, or you're working with multiple people, which it's just a little complicated, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving
Have you
on.
noticed any issues up there yet with the pickleball courts? I mean,
No, it doesn't look like anything's touched. It looks fine right now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows either, right? Just the people are more close to it.
yeah, I mean, people, like I said, I'm being asked, you know, when is it gonna open and things like
Yeah.
that. So people, anyway, people
Yeah.
have noticed it.
Yeah,
A lot of people
okay.
think it's a tennis court. I've been asked about that, you know, how could they put
Yeah.
a tennis court up there?
Yeah.
Well, not really. So I'm just, as more and more, and it's been mentioned on Facebook, you know, a few times that I've seen. So I think people are becoming aware that there's
Yeah.
new stuff up there.
Yep.
You know, new facilities up there, and
Hopefully this week.
hopefully, I mean, hopefully it's not inviting to the barbecue.
Yeah. This was on there, so I included it. I don't even know if fall 2026 is when we decide, but for Neil, in the plans for the development, it was adding 4 more pickle courts eventually. So that'll be something, I guess, to keep in mind
I
for.
think we hold off, yeah.
Yeah,
But keep a list available.
that's kind of a, probably
See how
more
it
than
goes.
likely, I would think.
Let's get
that it's
open
gonna be
first,
something,
right?
Right. The old football field, I passed around a survey that was completed, well, almost completed. They've been having trouble getting the survey completed. So it sounds like they're gonna go back out tomorrow and hopefully get the north end done. But this is a preliminary drawing of that space.
Okay, so this is great to see. I think in our discussion while you were gone, was that the use for that space, one of the thoughts as archery, I tried to superimpose a scale of what I found as an archery space, and it seemed to be going east to west and not maybe north and south as we'd like everything to terminate into the hill. So is that something that you're able to do in looking at that space to say, yeah, this would be a great spot for archery, or it doesn't work in the scale? Too premature?
Sure. I just need to look over some of the things that my archery notes that when we talked about this, I do have another archery meeting next Tuesday, I believe, so I can kind of look at more of this a little bit. I'm sure it's big enough. It's just whether or not is there space for other things is a recommendation that if you have an archery range, you don't want other things there, kind of some of those questions that I'll ask my Michigan group. And then figuring out how to get back there, I guess.
Yeah, I think the way Mark put the plan together, archery would be, if you went east to west, I think that's the only thing that could be there.
Sure.
Based on the space.
Scale, but
If it would fit north to south, we could put something else on the east side, but it doesn't sound like, if you had a regulation, I guess,
Sure.
you couldn't go, there wouldn't be enough room to go north to south.
Well, and I guess it's kind of deciding, do you want it to be like an official archery range, or is having, when we do clinics right now, we're not shooting more than like 40 feet. So it could be fairly small.
no, that's not the scale that I found online, but it wasn't accurate, I assumed.
I'm sure it was accurate. It's just if you're gonna try to host
Yeah.
tournaments, if you're gonna try to do
Yeah,
things bigger than
okay.
just my little backyard type
Yeah.
clinics.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, if we made it the regulation size archery, then it would sit idle most of the time. Where if we did it for just your programming, we could have that on one end, smaller, and then other things could happen over here.
Sure.
When archery's not going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the thought there.
And if you look back to the meeting notes, I think there was some reference to, if there's a way to connect trail to the trails that we just put in through that back property. I'm trying to think of what the other things that we had even talked about with that space outside of the scope of just the archery, so.
Right. Well, my big thing was the skate park, but
Yeah,
I don't know if that would fit.
I know kind of a need in our area is that there's no open shooting ranges. So I think that would kind of be a draw. Again, it's having to staff this fairly often.
You're talking
but
archery.
guns?
Yes.
Archery.
Oh, archery.
Yep.
Oh,
That's a big thing that I get from the participants that I already
Okay.
have, and then just knowing our area, it's not really an available activity.
so with your previous experience in programming and then setting up the archery space, is that something that would make sense for us to offer like on Tuesday nights and Sundays afternoon or something like along those lines?
I think so. It's just right now having just me
Yeah.
and trying to get Katie, the program coordinator, to do it.
Yeah.
It's hard to, we would have to hire more staff and we would have to really invest in that if we're going to go an archery range route, where right now it's just not really feasible between like the two of us.
Yeah, so I think, once the survey is complete and we know what we actually own, I think step one is finding out where the entrance is gonna be, clearing a space, seeing if we have to use that easement, getting permission to clear any more that we need to get down that street there. And once we have access to it with a driveway, so to speak, then I think you can
Decide what we want to.
decide what's gonna be cleared for the space, what's gonna be left natural, we need to replace the fences and all that, but I think access is number one.
Yep, yep. And making sure we have the space, if it works.
Next is road signs on Sprinkle. The thought, I guess, was to put a sign on Sprinkle indicating that Robert Morris and McLinden was down on H. I think the holdup was kind of, I don't see anything why we shouldn't do it for Robert Morris, but for McLinden, this whole is it ours, is it not ours? Do we include them on our sign, do we not?
Yeah, in addition to that, I think Echo Valley was on some of those signs as well.
I forgot about that.
And that was the other gray area, if we include it or not. And I'll take us back to Vanessa's. I think Vanessa might have pulled permits from an individual. I don't know if I can track that because it was outside of the scope that I was trying to help her with.
Sure.
So I think permits were pulled and then things just kind of changed. Layouts were provided and then it was like, well, wait a minute, do we include McLinden because it's, or do we include Echo because it's on one sign but it's not on the other? So that was part of that conversation. I think it's important that we follow up on it and either, close that chapter or move forward.
Right.
Because it's been out there for a long time.
There
So-
are some signs, but they just became very
Correct.
unreadable.
Yeah, and yeah, they're old and beat up and there's 2 missing along 26 and whatever,
Have
so.
those even been removed, or are those?
The ones, yeah, no, those are still up.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I know,
And I think one was even a notification for entrance to McLinden and that kind of stuff, or maybe it was, not Merrill, but Robert Morris, but
I don't know why, Echo Valley, the property is up for sale. So
Yeah.
it may not even. bring it-
correct. I don't know when those get generated, if it's just a township thing that they try to include, amenities or what, and where you stop or draw the line. So if we're gonna do it, I think we have to readdress where the permit was, and if that can be still updated. And then, I can give you the layouts that have been done for
Sure.
quite some time, so.
Okay. Robert Morris, the disc golf hole one, this is probably something that does need to happen. So hole one, it's kind of like a valley here, and there's 2 trees, I think it's 2 trees on either side that are being washed out. So we do need to address that eventually, soon. It just sounds like it's probably gonna be fairly expensive. So that's, I think, why the holdup.
And I think we have to maintain what we currently have.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we start looking at adding more stuff, let's maintain what we have.
That's a very good point.
And,
But what is that? When you say very expensive, that's
I think 5 to 10 or more grand. Because I think the trees need to come down, and then I think you're building a wall for the washout.
Okay.
I mean, does not having this hole really adversely affect everybody who plays there? And, I mean, is it?
I guess we have not looked at if we just got rid of hole 1 and let it do what it does. It is kind of the start of the trail though, so,
Yeah, I would-
but it hasn't been thought of,
It's
but,
a vital
Yeah,
component.
it's mapped into everything that they've
So it
done.
needs to be fixed.
sure.
Yeah.
If we want to have a facility that people are
Yeah.
eager to use, and I mean, it's gotta be,
But how long has this been going on? Because I don't remember even having a conversation about hole 1 being washed out. Is that something just
I think-
recently?
No, I think, even with
Wow.
Danielle, it had been
Oh,
brought up.
I don't remember any of that, so.
Do you think that's something that survives the winter, or should it be done this year?
I think it can last another winter. It's,
Okay,
Okay,
I only ask that because if you can get an idea of how much it's gonna cost, we can build it into the budget as we're
Yeah.
making the budget. Some of these things we can just throw right in there.
right.
And see how that flies.
I think it'd be helpful for her to tell us
yeah,
what really needs to be done sooner than later.
Sure. This
yeah,
would be something that.
prioritize it. Yeah, but
This-
right now, you're just getting us a yes or no that we want you to pursue it.
Right.
Yeah. And so far, your list is daunting.
That's why I'm like, let's talk about this.
Yes.
I think I should be, because I think another part of working on hole 1 is the season. When Greg, well, I'll get multiple quotes, but when Greg could
Yeah.
do something like this, if he can't do this, or if it's something that will involve somebody.
Greg?
Greg's tree service
Oh,
is
Greg's
typically
tree.
who we
Okay,
have
gotcha.
used.
Is that, sorry, can I ask one more
Yeah.
question? I know very little about disc golf. Does that add to the hole, having those trees there? Like, would we replace the trees that come down?
I don't think so. I think there's enough trees around that it's not you're not really gonna notice these two being gone. They might miss the like, oh, is it gonna fall on me while I walk under here or not fall on me?
Right,
But-
right. I just know, that's some of the charm to the holes is having that tunnel of trees.
Right. I don't think, from what I remember, these 2 trees aren't like significant. They're just more like in the way and
Gotcha.
dying.
Okay, that's all, thank you.
So, as we finalize these, hopefully it's not too.
There's 2 more. I'm so sorry.
No, no, this is important. But what I want to point out is that we now need from you what the priorities are, because we don't know anything about disc golf, and we want to direct you in the
Sure.
right direction. If that's a priority, yes, but it can wait till spring, so let's find out how much that cost, and then when we're ready, we know where the money's coming from, and then we can move that into our,
Build it in.
yeah.
I don't think we would have enough to do it this year, or season-wise. I don't know if it could be done this year,
Yeah.
but it would be something that I think needs to be
Yeah.
addressed
But
early
yeah,
next year.
and I'm not asking for that now, but I think based on this conversation
Sure.
with the rest of these, that at least from there, you'll be able to give us, these are the ones that I think we should do first.
Sure.
Then we can get solid approvals and some dollars in front of it.
Okay.
So,
This one is in the master plan, but the thought was to connect the Township Hall to South Winkie and getting rid of the parking lot at South Winkie for mostly safety reasons, coming up on the hill or going down the hill with the Kalamazoo River Valley Trail running across. And then I think just opening up more parking with the township. So I think that's more like 2028, 2029 thoughts. But if it is something that we do actually want to pursue or not, if you have any thoughts at this point.
does anybody have any thoughts?
I know that even the superintendent mentioned doing that, so I think the township
Yeah.
board would be, I can't speak for all of them, but I
Yeah.
think they would be on board with doing something like that.
Well, that's what I was thinking, why would that really fall to us exactly? I mean, why wouldn't that be more of a township?
I think it's a combination. I mean, our parks, right? So that's,
Well, but I mean, they want to connect the township hall to the park.
but I think there's
They
more
want
to that.
connect the park to the township hall.
They're talking about closing off the drive to our park.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's a walk-up only. And that's the one concern that I do have, because I do see, for a reason, a lot of people still attending that park and parking there. So that would be my only concern, but if it's a decision that, it's for safety, that makes sense. But I think there's got to be a way to communicate that.
We need
Yeah.
probably a sign South Winkie Park access at our driveway where you can go park.
Yeah, please park, you know,
You know.
But
it'd
if
be
there's a way to even-
We envisioned a nice little bridge to walk across and
yeah,
you'd be closing off your driveway, which is dangerous anyway, and then you're crossing the trail, you know, bikers going through there. I think
Yeah.
that was the idea. But then the parking lot you could utilize for something else, I guess. Maybe a kayak launch, or if we don't have one over here.
they
Anyway.
need parking, but yeah.
Then you gotta carry your kayak across the new bridge that we made, so anyway. So yeah, so it would be,
Idea.
it's a park issue because you're losing your parking lot.
Yeah,
But then it's a township issue because you're using parking of the township, so it's kind of a collaboration. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, I would hope that the cost would be split somehow, but
yeah,
Well, it's
I
all-
know people
It's all the same money
on both
anyway,
boards.
but-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, true, that is true. It comes from all the same pot of money.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are next steps for that then?
I guess it sounds like to pursue having it in the CIP.
Yeah, and like Katie mentioned, we've got other things going on before that, so this is gonna be like a down the road
Yeah, yep,
type thing, because it's a bigger project, because again, you can't see it, but you're messing with the river, so that we may have to deal with Eagle on that as
Yep.
well, because there's a
Okay.
little, when the river gets high, there's a little inlet area, like a bay that
Yep.
fills with water. Most of
Yep.
the time it's not, but sometimes it does. So there may be all that to deal with. That could be another grant down the road too, I don't know.
okay.
And then the last one is just kind of another poke reminder that the contract with Kalamazoo County and the softball fields we're set for 5 years, 4 years. But the lights were brought up when we signed the contract this year. So right now it sounded like they wanted to maybe meet with us and try to figure out what our plan was to fix these lights. My thought was, well, I guess we need to meet because I didn't think that we would need to really fix the lights, that maybe it's a joint thing, maybe it's not us, but then it just kind of goes back to, it's not our park, we're leasing it. How much money are we gonna invest in it, especially when you're talking about replacing the lights and just kind of what we're thinking about doing that. Because I just feel like 2029 is gonna be here before you know it, so.
How long does the township lease that from the county? A long time?
How long have we leased
How
it?
long?
Oh, I don't know. Since,
20 years,
yeah,
you know?
I'm not sure when it was built.
I'm not sure if it,
I'm longer than that.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I thought there was some publication that we looked at just recently that had a date on it, but I may be thinking of Linden.
2000, I think.
Mm-hmm,
So that's already
25.
25 years ago.
Mm-hmm,
And he had that put together long before he was,
okay,
yeah, it's gotta be,
yeah. Well, it sounds like it needs to get
it's been
resolved,
a long
but we need to,
lease, I would say.
Right.
I would say it's been,
Has the county put any money into those fields? Or has it always been, was it built knowing that the township
I
was
think the only
in
thing,
need?
my recollection is the only thing the county has done a little bit is the parking lot. I think they did they pay to grade some of that or, but no, otherwise
Maybe.
it's strictly the township's deal.
they will winterize the building. I think a couple of times they might have paid for to fix a pipe kind of a thing, but mostly it's on us.
Okay.
I mean, all of the dugouts and the
Right.
boards
Yeah.
and the restrooms and it's all been through the township. It's not been through the county, if my recollection is correct.
Okay,
The
I think,
grooming of the fields, everything is,
Yeah.
yeah,
so I
And-
think the lights are gonna be on us. I don't
Yeah.
think they would have any,
and did we have a cost? And I don't remember, I know there was a,
I thought when Vanessa looked at it, talking to Joe, it was like
over.
$1 million or some crazy number like that. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now Joe has talked to, because we, every now and then we have to replace a bulb. And it sounds like when the last time they came out to replace a bulb, there was an idea that we could switch over to LEDs and that wouldn't cost as much as replacing the whole ballast and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like it might not be as bad as we initially thought, but I still think it's going to be awfully expensive.
Who replaces the bulbs?
Esper.
Vice? Oh, Esper does? Oh, okay.
But there again, I mean, and sometimes we hear that the usage out there of the park is less and less and less. So, I mean, if we were going to invest a lot of money in it, I think we would want to be kind of sure that, you know,
We're continuing to run it
that
and
we're
there's a
continuing to
return.
run it and that it's
Yeah.
continuing to draw, you know,
Right.
the,
I think it's a great, yeah, it's a great space, and there's room for expansion if we ever wanted to do that, even a baseball size field. I know that baseball teams use the softball fields,
Right.
but even with a differently configured field, if they're going to continue to rent. But the concern, as I always say, is that we don't own it. So what if the county, after the next lease, says, okay, we want to use it for this now, and you're gone?
well, that's why.
What happens
we
then,
would have
yeah.
to have like another 50-year lease or something. You
Right.
know, If we were going to invest that kind of money, we would have to say, we need assurance that,
Right.
So part of the last conversation when we had to sign it this last time was, it sounded like they were open to like changing the terms of the lease, if it was yearly, if it was, I don't know how long they would go, but I think it can change. We just need to decide if and what we want it to look like, and then
Were you involved in that?
it was like right before I went on maternity leave, so it was the last little bit.
I mean, I know that what the area can be used for is somewhat restricted. I mean, with the county, we can't compete with the county in terms of soccer fields or anything like that. But I mean, could you, if it were allowed, could you use that for archery? Could there be space out there for archery?
From my understanding, as we can use it as much as we want for softball, baseball. If it's anything else, we just have to get approval. But I don't think, I think we've gotten approval for like food trucks and things like that. I don't think it's a,
Because even if it's, I mean, we're out there so much going to soccer games, and it used to be whenever you went out there, there was stuff going on at the softball complex.
Yeah.
Now it seems like it's less and less. I mean, could that even be a place that you would rent for somebody to have their family reunion, you know, and pavilions there? I mean, is there potential to use it for something like that, where if a church wants to have a
Yeah.
place where they could have
Yeah.
a church picnic and they would have ball
Northeastern
fields.
has that in the back. They've got a nice pavilion and a couple baseball diamonds.
I mean, would the county agree to something like that?
I couldn't say yes or no. I don't
No,
know.
I mean, those are really good points.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, especially like the archery,
Yeah,
if this is not a potential.
Right, and
So-
especially since
Yep.
it's already mowed and groomed
Yeah,
and there's restroom facilities.
and people are already coming in and out of there.
Right, and there's
Yeah.
plenty of parking and you don't have to worry about, you know,
Yeah,
access points and all that.
So I do archery at Robert Morris because there's a place for us to put all the equipment. So with Winky, it's not that it's a bad idea, but it would just, we would then kind of want to be able to store the stuff
storage
there.
shed or
So we have
something,
to buy
yeah.
some kind of a storage shed or something,
Yeah.
but that would be,
Sure, but just to,
Yeah,
it would be less expensive than developing a whole other piece of property and probably wouldn't it, I would think, but.
so, you know, it's named after a certain individual and family. I mean, maybe they would like to donate the lights. I'm kidding. So what I would like to do, though, is seriously to consider what the actual cost is, because that seems to be a number that's been thrown around, and if LEDs now and the limitation, I know that, you know, in the sign industry, we do switch over, and it becomes cost-effective both for the people running the lights as well as, you know, not having to invest in ballast and whatnot.
sure.
So if there's a way to start that process, and maybe, I don't know if Esper is one that could be helpful in that. We're doing some other, you know,
Yep.
business with them. They might be helpful if there's other electrical companies that we could, you know,
Okay.
at least get a solid quote so we know what we're doing. I don't think it's a tomorrow thing, you know, but maybe, you know, by the end of the year that we can,
Asking to have conversations about it.
Yeah.
And it's through email, so, you know, it's not
yeah.
phone conversation, but it just kind of sounded like, oh, you're not doing it this year. This needs to happen soon. So
Okay.
again, it was through email. Maybe it wasn't as direct like that as I took it, but
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think it wouldn't hurt then to set up a meeting, I guess, with you and, I don't know if Teresa as the chair wants to sit in or whoever, or if you just wanted to be the Katies and to express, I think we all have concerns about it, so if those could be expressed.
I mean, set up a meeting with a county like Dave Rakovitz.
Whoever you're emailing with.
yeah, it's Dave.
Sounds like they want to meet.
Well, I just
kind of why we haven't done it. Like, we want them to know why we haven't done it.
Sure.
Concerned about ownership.
Well, I mean, I know at one point, several years ago,
Mhm.
Scott was even involved with,
Mhm.
making a pitch to them about,
Yeah.
purchasing the
Right.
property, and that was kind of resounding no.
No, it sounded like the county, some of the county commissioners were interested, but the parks director was not.
Was not
And they kind of,
acquiesced.
they lean on him,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
they, you know,
Right. Mhm.
he's the director, so they kind of go with what he wants.
Does the county take care of the mowing, or do we?
We do that. It doesn't come out of our budget, but it is us that are paying for it, the township. Sure.
Township. Okay.
I mean, there's a big investment out there already, just in everything that's out there. The fields and the dugouts and the
Yeah.
restrooms and the concession stand, and so, I mean, if we're
Mhm.
hoping to, keep it up and running, why, I think we're gonna have to
Yeah.
come up with.
And maybe in the meeting, maybe we can have Scott there too, but talk about the purchase of it again and why they don't want to sell it, I guess. If they're not using it for anything else, is there another reason why they don't want to get rid of it, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's more of a township and not a director conversation, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
at the point that I was talking with Scott about it, this Camp Rotacon, or
Mhm.
Boy Scout camp, had just been purchased. And so he thought maybe they would be more interested in, they would
Right.
like the money from the sale of that, but I don't know, I never went there.
Yeah, so, might as well throw it on the table if we're talking about everything.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. the
Thank
only-
you.
This was helpful for me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next discussion is going to be the listing of the dates for 2026 for our meetings. If anyone has any comment to that, or Katie, you need to take us through it?
Page 29 would be the Mondays, the second Monday of the month for 2026. I think it's been thrown out there that do we want to keep it on the second Monday of the month? Do we want to change it? All that kind of stuff. So I included a yearly 2026 calendar for you.
Yeah, sorry, I have a comment on that. So I kind of brought it up, like, maybe we should avoid the farmer's market and the softball, and then we were just kind of off the cuff talking about different dates. What about the second Tuesday? Oh, well, that could be Veterans Day. What about this? And there's always something that could be in
Yeah.
the way, except for the second Monday.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any, from year to year, maybe Veterans Day, but then
Yeah.
I think that's not an issue, because Veterans Day is the 11th. And if the first is on a Tuesday, then you avoid Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
That was really the only one that was a floater, other than July 4th, but that wouldn't be on the second Monday, so.
But you were,
I think it was thoroughly researched.
Yeah.
Second Tuesday, third Tuesday, second Thursday, everything conflicted with something
Yeah.
except the second Monday.
I'll
yeah.
move to adopt the 2026 meeting dates for the second Monday of each month.
Thank you, Judy. Is there any opposition? So that it's approved. Okay.
It was worth a shot.
Next, we're going to start the discussion on getting the budget together for 2026. If you'd like to start us with where we're at and where to go.
Yes. In the next couple of weeks here, I'm hoping to get a final idea on Winky specifically, how much what our expenses are versus our revenue. I think we are absolutely going to have to raise our prices for rentals. I just don't know if that's, 5%, 20%, whatnot, but I think we're not breaking even on that right now. So I'm going to meet with our field guys, right, to get their perspective on that. Anybody who's already starting to reach out about field rentals for next year, I've been telling them that we should finalize our fees about November, December, and to reach out around that time period. So with budget preparation, just if there's anything that you have that you want me to include or look at, now would be the time to kind of ask. Brett, I can't remember what our timeline is that we have to get a budget to the township.
I think you wanted it today, but probably by the next meeting. 'Cause I know working backwards, I don't have, you got a calendar, that's next year's calendar. They generally approve the budget at the first meeting, the township's first meeting in December, which would be the first Monday, which means the second Thursday, or the second Monday in November, they would hold the public hearing, which means the second meeting in October is when they would actually approve it, so to speak, so that they could approve what was going to be at the public hearing, because they don't have the first Monday in November because of the election. So the first meeting in October, I think, is when they were going to present it to the board the first time, which would be before our next meeting. So that's kind of what we were working with. So hopefully by our next meeting, we'll have something. I mean, I can work with Katie with what the township board's budget kind of looks like and throw some stuff in there, and then we can show it to you at the next meeting. But the township board probably will already have seen the preliminary by that point, but they won't finalize till the second Monday. So we'll still have time to move some money around or some numbers around and finalize ours at the next. I'm assuming we would have to do it at the October meeting unless we call a special meeting. So hopefully we can get some numbers to you to look at, and then you can shoot Katie some ideas back, what to include or what not to include, or.
Well, we addressed some of those even tonight, right? So,
Yeah.
But it's the cart and the horse trying to get the pricing,
Right. Yeah, I think we put everything in there that we want and then see what we can afford, rather than, adding stuff in later. Just throw it all in there and.
I agree.
That's the better way to do it. So anyway, it's coming up quick. For some reason, we didn't even start talking about the budget until recently, where normally it's July 1st.
Yeah.
We're like right on it.
Let's
Just
make
been
a
a
note
crazy year.
in July that we start that.
It's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing that you want me to necessarily concentrate on or look at, then I'll give you something next month.
I probably just based on our discussion, obviously the fence and the plantings at Neal, and I already forgot what it was. The trees at the disc golf.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
The three big ones, but maybe even the concrete pads.
Sure.
If we want to do it outside of for the other parks, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, because that wouldn't be a part of the grant writing.
Right.
Yeah.
Merrill would, but the other parks, we would have to do outside of that.
Sounds good.
So at least we know the numbers.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to reports and correspondence. On the director's report, I had one question. Something simple. The date for the Fall Fest is the 27th, I believe.
Yes, is it? I think it's wrong in here. I think
Saturday,
Teresa
yeah.
caught that as well. So with Fall Fest, the way that it's kind of being planned this year, we're not going to need seasonal staff necessarily to help. I think between me and Katie, we can handle majority of the things, but if there's anyone who would love to do parking again, he did a very good job. It would be nice if he could come back and do that again.
So that you said it's the 27th, not the 29th?
It is the 27th, yep, it's that Saturday.
Is there anything else you need for that? I mean, we're going to be there anyway, so.
I
if you can
think,
put me to work and-
just like always, like a presence of board at the table. I don't know necessarily if we're like handing anything out. We'll be advertising for the Halloween event we have, and probably the holiday event that we have coming up, and just general kind of stuff. So you can always help with that piece. I always feel like when you're the program coordinator, you're usually drawn somewhere else doing something. So it's just nice to have somebody there.
What about setup?
Setup, we're not using any of our tents, and it's all on the vendors to kind of do
Okay.
their stuff. So there's probably gonna be like some table and chair moving, but I don't think there's gonna be any like heavy kind of stuff. So between me and Katie doing like trash and things like that, I think we'll be okay. But parking is always that piece, and we just don't have any seasonals left. It's been weird. So,
I'll mention it to the
okay.
parking parking attendant
Yes,
at
he's
my house.
fabulous.
I'm trying to remember last year, was there not enough parking here? Like,
So the
do
way we
people
did
have to
it
park on the
last
street?
year, we had 2 people, because one would be up at the drive, letting people know if there was a spot open and they would let them in. We'd have somebody in the lot seeing how, like, when people would leave and let them know up top that their spot opened up, you can send somebody in. I'm thinking if there isn't people to do parking, then it's just kind of going to be figure it out on
Right.
your own.
So if there isn't parking, are we having them park on Comstock Ave? They kind of ruined that for
We
us.
told them about parking here.
Yeah.
And walking around,
Okay,
or I think, do they,
You can park in like the neighborhood side streets. The library said you could park there. We say North and South Winky.
but the bakery too, didn't they let us park?
I think they did.
yeah, there's a few spots there on
Yeah, right on the.
River Street, not
Yeah, right
many,
on
but
River Street.
is there ever been talk of a shuttle of some sort?
We always talk about that, and it's just fairly expensive, and
Yeah.
trying to figure out who's gonna be our driver and
Okay.
where's like the main hub coming from.
And it's never
Gotcha.
been that bad.
Right.
The parking.
Okay,
You know, there would always be some people that we would say, you know, there is no more parking in there, and they'd say, well, I'm just gonna drive down there anyway, you know? And still, you know, drive in and whatever.
Sure.
right,
It wasn't
Okay.
like when we had Comstock days where we
Right.
needed a shuttle.
Mhm.
It was,
okay,
it's never been that bad, but.
got it. So so Parks will have a table.
Yep.
And then all the other vendors and such will just be on their own?
Yep.
Or-
It's 10 or 10:30, vendors can start arriving to set up, and then they pretty much have to be set up and ready to go by like 11:45, I think.
And this is in conjunction with the DDA, are they participating at all?
Yep, so they're covering the music, and they're kind of coordinating where the food trucks and signage, and we're like entertainment, overall site management.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what are some of the attractions? I mean, there's gonna be a band or something?
I think,
It says goodbye, sorry.
Oh, where does it say?
Just above after farmer's market. Oh, wait, no, did I misread that?
I think that's for the farmer's market. I can't remember the name of the music. I'm pretty sure it's just one guy and a guitar. It's much better than the way I made that sound, but.
No, but I mean, sometimes you've had a petting zoo.
I can't remember his name.
You had a petting zoo, or you
Yeah.
had,
So there is, we have a petting zoo with pony rides.
oh, okay.
The library is, they're still kind of trying to nail down what they're going to have, but along the lines of, is it a face painter, balloon twister, something in that kind of realm. There's, I think, like 7 or 8 food trucks that we have this year. Maybe 5 or so, like arts and craft produce kind of stuff. I think it's just Winky Greenhouse that is coming this year. I don't think River Street is coming. I'm sure I'm missing something, but similar but different.
The one year you had somebody from the nature center brought animals, was that it, or was that, yeah, I don't know, I mean, you've had different things.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but-
So I would like to know if there's a chance that we could be promoting our new pickleball courts and our archery programming and making sure everyone knows about our softball, et cetera. Is that something that you think we might be ready to do?
If the pickleball courts aren't open by.
You understand what I'm saying?
27th,
I mean, this is a perfect opportunity
Yeah.
to get in front of the people that
Yeah.
are here.
No, I
think
don't know
that's
if we
very
thought about
important.
that, but yes, talking more about Neal Street Park. And softball is just tricky because, yes, we want to rent them out, but it's so limited to what people can do. And the majority of things, we use the fields on Monday and Wednesday. And then it seems like the tournament rentals are up in the air until they figure out how many people they have. And that's where we end up losing the rentals. So the Tuesday, Thursday are the only real days because people aren't really doing that on Friday. And it's just,
I've noticed from some local parks groups that they do a really good job of, here's our calendar, come see us for, movies in the park or whatever it is. Portage does a really good job, even Ashtamo, I think it was, they did some nice things. I mean, is there a way that this is an opportunity to get some direct feedback from some of those folks too? Say, hey, we're looking at doing this, or what are we missing, that kind of thing. I always encourage us to try to find that way to make the connection with our public, because that seems to be a difficult bridge for us to cross. And this is the perfect time when we're right there. I mean, I don't know if you even have, like, you guys have done that with a calendar. These are what we offer. And then, by the way, you've got a young son or daughter or whomever, and then, is there anything that you would like to, would draw you to the parks or whatever?
Sure.
Just to get that kind of discussion going. I think that would be very important.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Even those pamphlets that just outline all the various parks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, people don't know, yeah.
People don't even know that there is such a thing as Robert Morris Park.
Yeah.
Or Jan Shaw.
Sure.
One last question, or I don't know if it's the last, but this idea of having a ribbon cutting or a dedication in October for Neal Street, I presume since the playground isn't being finished, and we will hold off on that until there's more.
I guess that's up to you. Maybe I'd find out tomorrow morning. I will let Jeremy know that we want to go ahead with the build, and I think within a week, you should let me know when they could do that. So I wouldn't think that they could do it before October 10th, but is it something that, do we want to push it off until the spring and have our soft opening now, and then in the spring do more of a
Ribbon cutting.
Cutting.
More there, and it's more.
Yeah, I don't, it's kind of lackluster, I think, because it's not all, yeah.
That's
But I think it should be used. I don't want it to not be used.
Oh,
because
it's
we haven't
sure,
done
sure.
the official,
Yeah.
dedication or whatever.
Yeah.
Hold off till spring when we have the playground in, we have a little bit more to offer up
Yeah.
there.
I want to be interested if there's any local political, people that would even attend something like that. I don't know. I've seen that before in our parks, right? So,
When they revamped Merrill Park.
yeah.
there were some
I
people-
don't remember who it was, but yeah.
I think some of the other local supervisors came, or,
Yeah.
some, like Jerry Vander was from Pavilion, or Charleston, or, there was some, or maybe that was the dedication for the fire thing. I don't know, but I know,
Yeah, that's right. He was here for that.
yeah, I mean, there's,
Yeah.
some of the people came out for those kinds of things, so.
Okay. So that covers us on the, no, it doesn't. That covers us on the reports, and then we would have a discussion yet for the August revenue and expenditure report. Is that correct? I apologize, it doesn't seem like that's listed in mine. Correct.
It doesn't need to be approved.
It's just a review?
Unless you have questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions regarding that? In addition to the August director's report, and that's kind of what we went through as well. Yeah, okay. Any comments, members, announcements, engagements, things that we should know? Okay. So would anybody like to move that we adjourn?
That we adjourn at 7:46 PM.
Sounds great. Thank you, everybody.